Might have to go with Morgan Technology.
It's showing, no. If not, we might just have to
Ring
put
without?
up a phone and roll with it.
Okay.
If y'all are okay
Yeah,
with
let's
that.
do that.
Sorry, guys.
That's what it's standing.
It's in a corner.
He needs to get the stand.
It's the oil.
It's a big stand, King. It's a big stand.
Just trying to help you.
I'm trying to think, Chantel, you ought to set up the thing.
Oh, you were going to pass it to you?
Yeah,
It's working?
That part.
Never mind, it's working. We good.
Oh.
Y'all just all had to get up.
It's working?
She said it's working.
Got it.
Yeah, to the shooting range.
We good?
Sorry.
Oh, no problem. You good?
All right, Mr. Bear, you can start from the beginning.
Oh. Thank y'all for letting me speak here tonight. My name is Bart Aber, and I'm running for City Court Judge of Brobridge. I'm here tonight because I want you to know me, the person that I am. So come election time on November 3rd, you know that I'm the right person for the job. I was born and raised in Brobridge by my parents, Butch Aber and Pat Aber. Butch, also known as Archie, had Archie's Trophies shop in Brobridge for 48 years. He also served as deacon of St. Bernard Catholic Church for 33 years. My mom was a teacher, worked and retired in the St. Bernard Parish school system. And they've had six children. I'm the second of the sixth one. It's pretty easy to figure out where I fall in line because it's by the alphabet. Archie, Bart, Casey, Daniel, Edie, Fink. So pretty easy to find out where I am. I'm St. Martin Parish through and through. I got grandparents that are Broussards from Poche Bridge, Brassas from Cecilia, Thibodeau's from St. Martinville, and Abears from Brobridge. Growing up in Brobridge, my parents taught me to trust God, be accountable, work hard, and through their actions, they showed me the importance of serving others. I've applied these values in every facet of my life, or at least tried to. And if elected, I'll do the same as City Court Judge. I'm a graduate of Brobridge High School. After high school, I went to USL where I graduated magna cum laude, and I was selected as the outstanding graduate for the political science department. After that, I went to LSU Law School where I graduated with honors. The good thing about LSU Law School, if you do well, the biggest and best firms come and recruit you. So I was fortunate enough to get recruited and hired by a prestigious firm in Lafayette. Got to work with a lot of good people, a lot of prestigious clients. I couldn't help my own family, friends that I seen every day at the grocery store. So after 3 years, I brought my practice to where I live, in Brobridge. And as an attorney licensed in Louisiana, you can practice anywhere you want. I've chosen to practice for the last 21 years in Ward 4 in Brobridge. And for all of those 21 years, I've been the managing partner of our law firm, Boyer, Aber, and Angel, and of our title company, the closing company, which consists of 2 offices, 9 attorneys, another dozen staff. So I've experience in operating and managing an office much like the city court. I also currently work alongside 2 current city court judges. Randy Angel, who's the city attorney in the city judge in Brobridge, and Jerry Denton, who is the city court judge of Denham Springs. They each operate their courts differently, as will I. But the insights that I've got from them on the responsibilities of the office has been big. My 24 years of legal experience is in a wide array of areas, from personal injury, property, business, transaction litigation, estate planning, successions, oil and gas, and all sorts of civil litigation. I've also served as the city attorney for the last 10 years, which has given me invaluable experience. I've been the person who's been drafting most all the ordinances for those last 10 years. The same ordinances that the city judge is going to be called upon to apply and to interpret. I've been told that the one decision that best determines how successful you can be in life is who you choose as your spouse. And my wife of 26 years and high school sweetheart's here with me tonight, Carrie. She's a special person, and it's never been more evident than in this campaign. She's been with me every step of the way, every day, doing as much as I have. I'm glad now she chose me now. It's 32 years ago, because I know she is the person outside of Jesus Christ that's responsible for my successes. My daughter is about to start a new job as teaching pre-K3 in Nashville on Thursday, and my son Max is here with us tonight. He is working. Well, he's working right now, but he's listed at school in Ruston at Louisiana Tech with the hopes of becoming a dentist, maybe an orthodontist. My community service in Ward 4 spans every year for the last 20 plus years. I'm not gonna bore you with the positions I've held or offices or even the events that I've volunteered for. I do implore you though to go to our website, Barney Bear for Judge, where you could learn more about those things. I believe that the life one lives outside of the courtroom best shows what kind of judge one will be on the bench. And I believe that my varied and extensive legal experience, my community service, and the values that my parents have instilled in me have prepared me to serve as the next city court judge of Breaux Bridge with the competence, integrity, and trustworthiness that's deserved by the position. My vision for city court is simple. A court that's fair, it's efficient, and it's accessible for all, regardless of name, background, or circumstance. A court that not only upholds the law, but that builds trust in the community, that prioritizes accountability, that champions the values of the people it serves, and a court that makes Ward 4 safer for all. If elected, every person in my courtroom will be treated with dignity, respect, and impartiality. I work every day to make sure that those standards are upheld and justice is rendered firmly, fairly, and timely. I'll leave my vision for the court to another time, given the time that we have here tonight, but you can check out my website for that as well. And I'm here today to ask for your support, for your vote, if you are in Ward 4. And I'd let you know I'd be honored to serve as the city court judge for Ward 4. Thank you for this time. God bless you and everybody here tonight, and also for all the people in the city of Warren Parish.
Thank you, Mr. Bear.
Let's see if I can. I'm not your time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have my homework.
St. Mary Levy District Executive Director Michael Brocado Jr. to discuss the proposed intergovernmental agreement for the Bayou Chene control structure.
All right, first, thanks for having us. My name is Mike Brocado with St. Mary Levy District. I'm the Executive Director. And what we're here to discuss tonight is the IGA for the Bayou Chene. The Bayou Chene protects roughly 6 parishes on the east side of the Atchafalaya Basin. We wanted to get in front of you and let you know exactly how this works so you have a complete understanding before making a decision on that IGA. So I'm going to go through a quick slideshow here. If you look here, you can see, let's see if this, does it have a laser?
The laser.
Okay, you can see on this map where Bayou Chene is located, and you see to the east of those red lines, which are the East Atchafalaya Basin levee, those are the areas that this protects. You can see Amelia, you can see Stevensville, which is the portion that's in Lower St. Martin. And then here's the floodwaters from the Atchafalaya River coming up, and at a certain level, they start turning north in the Bayou Chene and begin to flood the areas north of Bayou Chene, of St. Mary Parish, of Amelia, and gets into Stevensville, probably one of the first areas affected. You can see whenever you close that structure, it pushes the water, the rainwater to the east. This affects even as far north as Iberville Parish. The biggest reason for that is when you get that northern push of that river water, it blocks everything up. All of that water has to come through Bayou Buff. So if you get a heavy rain in Iberville Parish, that water can't drain out because the Bayou Chene water is pushing north. You close the Bayou Chene structure, which is the new structure, and it gives you that effect. You can see here that entire area in pink or purple is the drainage basin that's affected by the Bayou Chene project. This is a picture from last year during the high water of 2025. You can kind of get an idea of what is river water. This picture is very effective at showing that, because once you close that structure, that river water can no longer move north into the Verret Basin. This is the gauge. The gauge is from the actual Bayou Chene structure. It shows where we closed it, which you can see here. I do have the numbers. The closure was on April 14th. The gauge elevation on the lower Atchafalaya River in Morgan City was 4.08. We opened on May 30th with the gauge at 5.49. Now, I know there's been a lot of discussion about, well, y'all don't close the gate early enough. The permit that we have in hand, I don't know if I put that on here. I don't think I did. The permit we have for this structure says that we have to close, or we can close, when it's approaching 7 or expected to go over 7. Last year, the prediction was that it was going to go to 7.5. That was our trigger. That's what gave us the opportunity to say, hey, we need to close the gate. We understand, we realize the sooner we close it, the better off. If we were to wait until it hit the 7, you're just allowing that water to fill that basin. You're causing drainage problems for the whole basin. So the other problem we run into is you start getting flows that are too heavy to close the gate, things like that. So we do close it earlier than anticipated. And you can see the benefit here. The opening last year had a lot to do with industry in the area. They had a couple big tows that needed to get out of Bayou Chene. So we were somewhat forced to open it a little bit earlier than we anticipated, but we also knew that we were on a falling gauge. So we know that in Stevensville and Lower St. Martin, those water elevations where you start getting water on the streets, I'm talking just strictly on the streets, is about a +2. You take into effect right here, we were at about a +2 on the gauges. The thing you got to keep in mind is it's +2 at that structure. That doesn't mean that that basin is filled in. So it takes a long period of time for that water to continue to fill in the basin to start causing the problems. We also knew that with the new structure, if it came to a point where we needed to close again, it's just a matter of pushing buttons and spending a little time out there and closing it. So we took that risk last year, opened it up, everything worked out fine, had no flood issues anywhere north of the structure. Here's another, this is Bayou Milhome. You can see where we closed, where we opened, and the effects it had on the base, on Stevensville, the Bayou Milhome gauge. You can see we kind of got around 2. That also might have been a rain event that fell in the basin at that time that caused that little bump in the gauge. And then we get to the IGA itself. So this IGA was supposed to be done in 2019, and it wasn't. It wasn't taken care of. Everyone involved at the time agreed upon what the IGA originally said. In the original IGA in 2019, there were $3.2 million in project development costs that were taken care of by St. Mary Levy District, as well as the Bayou Chene mitigation costs, which is another $790,000. Those things were supposed to be split amongst the partners. In November of 2025, we started these meetings again, and our district decided we were going to start from fresh. So you have those expenses. You have operating expenses in 23, 24, and 25 that the district also took care of. You can see a breakdown of those on the right-hand side. Those numbers, while they go up over that 3-year period to roughly about $260,000, in that there is some modeling costs that we took care of because in Hurricane Francine, we closed the structure because it was anticipated that it would go to the west of the Atchafalaya River. And it does help in that storm surge situation west of Atchafalaya and that was proven by the emergency closure during Hurricane Barry. So we did some reverse head modeling just to make sure that we weren't going to put the structure in jeopardy. Those costs go away. Going forward, I think we're in that $130,000 to $200,000 a year cost. Again, the structure was dedicated in 2022. As time goes, things break. We have to do maintenance and operations. The ask of the group you see them there, the 2, 4, 6, 7 agencies in this parish governments, its levy districts, is that we put in once a year, we put in $500,000 into, we'll call it the coffers for the Bayou Chene project. Again, each year we spend roughly $200,000 in O&M costs. Over that 10-year period, the barge is supposed to be dry docked every 10 years for maintenance and testing and things like that. That money, the extra money that's built up in the coffers, would pay for those dry docking and O&M costs. Here's the breakdown, the cost share breakdown. These breakdowns were taken from the 4.3 feet. So they took a 4.3 foot range through all of the districts, and anything below that was counted towards this, whether it be properties, businesses, things like that, that would be affected without the Bayou Chene project. The share for St. Martin Parish government is 15%, which is $75,000 a year. When you take it, if you look at $75,000 and then you look at the amount of money that I'm sure you all spent in possibly 2016, 2011, 2019, 2018 on flood fighting, that $75,000 is probably a drop in the bucket. So it's somewhat relieving you of those problems by utilizing this structure. This is just the first couple pages of the IGA. Currently, the only holdout for this IGA is St. Martin Parish. We are here to answer questions. I have with me tonight Mr. Bill Hidalgo, who's our board president, and I would say probably the man that knows more about Bayou Chene than anyone. And I also have our board attorney, Bill Bourgeois, who is also a resident of Lower St. Martin Parish. At this time, any questions? Would be happy to answer.
Mr. Louvier,
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we did all agree on the intergovernmental agreement.
we did
for
a
this.
resolution.
We did a resolution. The problem is, y'all don't agree with the resolution, correct?
Y'all didn't agree on the.
No, we had a
IGA.
modified.
Y'all
version.
modified
Right.
it, yes. And
So-
the biggest problem was there was really no, you weren't committing to anything, basically. You were saying, yeah, we'll give you $75,000 a year, but at the end of the day, if we don't want to do it, we're just not going to do it. And I can definitely tell you, from our standpoint, and I think anybody that lives in Lower St. Martin will tell you, they need it before St. Mary does. Because we
Yeah.
have higher elevations before we're affected by it.
Yeah, no doubt.
And we have made the commitment. I know there's issues with the 7 foot on the river, but as we proved last year, when it's time to close it, we're going to close it. And if you call and you say, hey, we're having problems, we're going to take care of the people.
That's kind of what we were after, just to make sure that the people get taken care of. 'Cause we don't mind paying the $75,000 a year. We all agree to that. That's not the issue. We just want to make sure that the people come first.
Oh, absolutely. No, that's what we're here for flood protection. And that's, again, no one else disagreed to this. We did lower it to, I think we originally had a 25-year, maybe it was 50. We did knock it down to a 10-year agreement, so we'll revisit the 10 years, in 10 years, see where we stand. I think we've been very fair with everyone. But yeah, we're here to take care of the people. That's the bottom line.
Anything else? Mr. Delcom,
Yeah, and in looking at the original IGA, I break it into two concepts. One, the 75,000 per year to take care of the annual maintenance and to be able to put a portion into escrow for the 10-year development and eventual need of refurbishment of the structure. From where we were looking and so forth to get a commitment, I don't think we would have a problem if we could take a look at the 75,000 per year commitment for 10 years. You know, the problem that I had and that some of the other council persons had was a commitment of an unfunded possible mandate of if the structure needs X, you're going to pay 15% of X or an unknown. And I would think that I know we would want to pay our fair share. I know 75,000, as you just described, is a drop in the bucket as to what it actually does to the people of Stevensville and Bell River. We understand that. And it's proven that when you do close it at 4.5 to 5 with an anticipation of 7, it does work. You know, so as far as the need of this structure, this $80 million structure that CPRA came in and built for us, for the parishes that it involves, it's a no-brainer. I would think that, like I said, the only problem that I had was this unfunded mandate at the end of 10 years. And at that point in time, I think it would be prudent for us to look at all areas of possible revenues, whether it be grants, whether it be intervention by CPRA, whether it be intervention by the 5 parishes and their legislative contingencies. You know, there's a lot of things that would need to be looked at before we come back to the individual parishes and, hey, look, we're short X, we need it. I understand it's needed. I can't commit from 10 years from now. I can basically tell you I'm not going to be here in 10 years. However, to commit 10 years from now or to give that on to another administration, an unfunded mandate, I don't feel comfortable with it. I do feel comfortable with the 75,000 per year and a commitment. Now, the council may have other vision on this. I'm just talking about myself. I do not have a vote with the expenditure of these monies. So I'm just
And I think
individually giving you where I come from.
one of the big things that we discussed in our I'll call it a coalition meeting, was that at the end of the 10 years, first off, we do things throughout that 10 years to make certain that when we hit that 10 years, we're not going to have some major deal that we have to contend with. Even there's a lot of stuff going on right now where we're doing things in lieu of dry docks. So that 10-year point, we may be able to push to 15 years. So we continue to build that coffer. The other big thing is CPRA came, when we signed the IGA with CPRA for the money, the thing is, at the end of the IGA, it says, you are responsible for O&M from here on out. Does that mean that in 10 years, we can't go to CPRA and say, hey, look, we've been building this coffer for 10 years, and we're short a little bit of money. If they see that we got skin in the game, they may be willing to put up some money to help us out. So yeah, we're definitely going to go after other funding sources to try to help if we do get into that situation. We just need the commitment from the parishes to be able to go to whoever it happens to be, whether it be the state, the feds, and say, hey, we're doing our part. Y'all need to do y'all's parts. And some of that, again, goes back to the Fed, the Corps of Engineers. They put out a white paper in 2013 and said, it is the responsibility, 100% responsibility of the Corps to take care of backwater flooding. That's what we're dealing with. We need to keep knocking on that door, that maybe they come in and help with some of these O&M costs. Their project was $300 million. We did it for 72. You got to look at the efficiencies there too. But that's where we stand. Again, commitment to the original. You guys are the only holdouts. I haven't heard anything from anybody else. I don't know if y'all can do something tonight. If this is something you need discuss further. If you got any other questions, please ask.
So any other questions from any other council members? So I'm gonna tell you where my issues lie. We never, I've been here I was here when we were sinking the barge. So I've been here for a while. When we started with the Bayou Chene Gate project, we started from the very beginning saying that the trigger points were not gonna benefit Lower St. Martin Parish. So the Corps wrote the plan and put it together. But if we follow the plan, it's kind of like buying a used car with the fine print. Right now, everything is working out good. Everybody's on board is fine with it. But I also know, because I was on the Chapel Basin Task Force, and I know how much commerce runs through that area. There's a lot of commerce. We've been through the ring a couple of times. We got 2 sets of locks over here that the Corps engineer built that we have to maintain. We just coughed up $1 million to maintain one that's unfunded mandate we have. We never agreed. When Chester was here as parish president, McGowan said, we never signed anything to say that we were going to even take part of this thing. Because the reason we didn't want to sign anything is because we wanted y'all to change the trigger point to when you're going to put it at 7 foot. We got water in houses in Stevensville. We flooded.
Sure.
So we came up with what we thought was a happy medium. Listen, we're not abandoning our people in the Lower St. Martin Parish. We're looking out for them. What we wanted to do, we wanted to change the trigger point. For their lower. That was never talked about. That was never done. It might have been discussed, but that never got done. Now they say, well, it's too late because, it was all put together. The Corps did it. This is the trigger point. This is where it's at. I understand what you're saying. I understand perfectly. You saying that, listen, we're going to take care of y'all. We're going to worry about the people. We've been taken advantage of by a neighboring parish with another issue. And the Corps engineers did nothing to help us. Never stepped up. Never recognized an issue. Nothing. We got a population of 50,000 people. We don't have 500,000 people living here. If that commerce needs to get through, that trigger point is going to change. Because you know why? Because the Corps engineers, when they wrote it to benefit those people, not the Lower St. Martin Parish. We came up with a simple idea. We'll give y'all $75,000. We passed a resolution committing to y'all. As long as y'all protect our people, we're looking out for the best interest of our people. If you continue to close that gate before Stephenville floods, we're going to pay you every year. We'll sign a for life, whatever. We're going to pay y'all. But the moment y'all flood us, guess what? I'm not paying you $75,000 to flood my people down there. And we got a flood fight. So that we gave you a resolution saying we're going to pay y'all as long as you protect our people. We'll honor our part if you honor your part.
So when you bring up the permit, here's the issue with the permit. If we go to modify that permit, number one, it's likely to take 5 years, if not more, to modify.
But why you didn't do it in the beginning? We asked for it in the beginning.
That's something that's just the number that was come up with. I honestly do not know. The engineer.
But when the engineering process was going on, we asked. When we first realized what the trigger point was going to be, we knew it was too late for us. So we asked to have it changed, and it never got changed on it.
It's very possible when you asked, that permit was already completed. You got to understand, it took 5 years to do that permit. If we go back and try to do anything with that permit, it's going to trigger a lawsuit from Avoca because they already tried to sue to get our permit revoked. That took a lot of time and money from the project. So that's why it's kind of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's why we're kind of leaving it alone because we don't want to open up that can of worms. But we're sitting here, I'm sitting here in front of our board president, our attorney, and I'm telling you, we're going to take care of your people. When anything happened in St. Mary with Bayou Chene, anything, guess where we were? We were in Lower St. Martin. We were in Stevensville. We were checking water levels. We were trying to figure out what was going on, what we could do to help, how soon we needed to get the barge in. We paid for those, 3 barge installations. CPRA covered the last one. But we took that on, not just to protect, again, 2019 is a perfect example. We were doing a little bit of flood fighting here and there in the Amelia area, but we didn't necessarily need it. But when they asked us, when CPRA came in and said, hey, you pay for it, or if you do it, we'll pay for it, we jumped on it. And that was, again, a lot of that had to do with protecting Stevensville.
Well, why doesn't your board, the board president's here, pass a resolution saying that we're gonna lower the trigger point and make sure that,
It's not that easy.
Yeah.
It's not, it's a permit. I mean,
yeah,
we're talking
but I'm
about
not asking you to
feds,
change the
states.
permit. I'm telling you, you want me to give you something in writing saying we're gonna cover the 75,000, which we're willing to cover as long as you don't flood out people. That's all we're saying. So
So-
give us something in writing saying that we're
So
gonna.
what,
be
a
good.
board resolution saying we're not gonna flood your people?
That you're gonna that you, yeah.
We can't say that we're gonna lower the trigger point. We cannot say that. Because then we'd be in violation of the permit.
Yeah.
Well, no, that was the point of showing those gauges. The minute they said 7.5, we were closing.
But what happens when the commerce starts slowing down and you remove that?
I can tell you now, last year it happened, they kept coming, hey, when you open it, can't open right now. Can't open right now. They kept pushing. Okay, now we can. With the idea that, hey, I might have to close it back in a few days. If the river doesn't continue to fall like it was predicted to do, we're just gonna close it again. That's the beauty of this project is 8 hours, we're done.
I think the council will take time to reconsider or consider what we've done, see if we want to change it. And
We're in the business of protecting people.
Yeah.
Period.
And us too.
And it doesn't matter if it's St. Mary or St. Martin.
And we are
We're
too.
there, we're there.
That's why we asked from the very beginning, from the previous administration, that we change the trigger point on this project.
That's just, it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
That's the biggest. It just opens up a can of worms that I don't think any of us want to deal with. Yeah, we do. We close it for hurricanes. And that's not in the permit. It's a riverine structure.
Right.
But we put the structure at risk because we know it serves a purpose.
All right, thank you for coming. We'll,
Yeah, and that's the other thing. You then have a voice to be part of this committee, to come in and say, and I'll tell you right now, we run as lean as humanly possible. In our office, there's myself, our own MTech, and our secretary. That's it. Most of the repairs and things like that are done on this barge are done by us. Because the more we know, the more we can fix in the matter of time that we need it fixed. If it breaks during operations, we need to be able to fix it.
we have a committee meeting in 2 weeks. We'll put it on the committee meeting for discussion.
If you need me back here, you just let me know. We'll come.
I will.
in and
We
do
will.
what y'all need.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Mr. Mello, you had something you wanted to bring up?
I had a question for you. You said lawsuits. If you pass an ordinance and you change the wording for this trigger point or whatever, I understand that. I'm not a lawyer by any stretch of the imagination, but what happens if the opposite takes place and you start getting sued by the people that are suffering? I know you said you're going to protect and your business is to protect the people, but what happens if something unforeseen comes about and these people start coming up with lawsuits in the opposite direction?
I can speak to that because I handled the litigation, the levy district bought my Avoca in connection with the permit. They filed a permit challenge. Actually, Judge Paul DeMaye was the judge on the case for the trial, and it went up to the First Circuit and denied by the Supreme Court. But we succeeded in justifying the need for the structure and having the permit where it is now. And going forward, the board, just like this board, has a certain amount of immunity. So if they vote to open or close the structure based on the permit, based on modeling with respect to hurricanes, so the board spent money, thousands of dollars, tens of thousands, on computer modeling to justify at what point do you close the structure depending upon the storm's path and how big it is. And if the storm is going again to the west of Morgan City, because of the counterclockwise rotation, it typically pays to shut the structure early. If it's going to the east, then it would be worse if we close it. So the board has a justified basis to vote, have an opinion, and vote to close the structure, open the structure when they can. So I think they'd have immunity as long as they operate in accordance with the permit or in good faith reliance on data to justify what they're doing. And I think what you're hearing is, and I live in Lower St. Martin, that the St. Mary Levy District wants to protect the people and is going to do all it can to protect the people. It's going to look at forecasts, going to consult with the Corps. We now have greater communications with the Corps with respect to Morganza. Just made a excursion up to Morganza and met with the folks that do the calculations for daily flow as to how much water they send down the Atchafalaya River. And so there could be discussions with the Corps that really didn't take place in the past about opening and closing of the structure. So we're very optimistic about this going forward, working within the parameters that we have and working to ensure to protect the public to the most extent possible. And we think that the intergovernmental agreement that was put together, that was signed by all of the others, is a reasonable approach to deal with the responsibilities that we have to CPRA in connection with the obligation to take care of the structure now and going forward.
So going back to where the trigger points at though, so the people that y'all saying that with the lawsuit and everything, it's my understanding that's just an open area of land. There's no houses or homes there or nothing. So that's what gets me. I don't understand. We worry about a lawsuit with somebody that just has a bunch of property with no homes there. But why? And we shouldn't have had to ask that, because when we were putting the Bayou Shan, and when we did the barge, it worked. It proved it was successful. But it seemed like that when we were putting this project together, especially with the Corps and everything, putting it together, we should have looked at homes. How many houses we have, who's going to be affected. I mean, every property owner, every home, you say you live in Lower St. Martin Parish, and your home's as valuable as somebody lives in Morgan City. In my opinion, it doesn't matter where you live or what you live in, it's your home. So we should have took into consideration what the trigger point should have been from the very beginning. So even though we're saying that we'd have to go back and change it would be costly, it would be timely, why we didn't do that from the very beginning? Why didn't we look at Stevensville knowing that's the lowest area? That was the area that's gonna be the first to flood. Why, when the trigger points were established, why didn't we look at Stevensville and say, okay, what's the number over there that we have to put to make sure these people don't flood?
I think if you look at what happened, in this last flood, we didn't have flooding.
Right.
We operated the structure within the realm of.
And we're not questioning y'all on the way it was operated and what y'all saying y'all gonna do.
Right.
We're not questioning about that.
Right.
What we questioning about is the fine print, the trigger point. What happens one day when we're not sitting here, you're not sitting there, and we got a bunch of comments coming through, we got people, and listen, we understand how politics work.
Right.
We know, we got put it to a couple of times before. Like I said, we got a bunch of unfunded mandates and locks that we have to put money into that we didn't ask for. But at the end of the day, why, my question, this is the only question I have. Why, when the project was initiated, when it was first put together, why didn't we look at Lower St. Martin Parish, knowing that was the lowest area, and come up there and say, this is the trigger point, what we need to do to start saving homes?
I don't think it was, they didn't look at it. I'm really not sure where that trigger point came from. But I want you to keep in mind one thing before Mr. Bill says anything. A good emergency declaration goes a long way.
Yeah.
If you get to the point where, again, if you're at the table and you call and you say, hey, we're about to declare an emergency, guess what we do? We declare an emergency, permits out the window, we could do.
How long is that permitting process to get it redone? Just
It took
curious.
us 5 years to get the original. The fear is that if we go and we try to change it, that Avoca's gonna jump on it again and try to get it revoked. And then we're gonna spend a ton of money with this guy, and we're gonna get nowhere. It's just gonna drag the process out. And they're gonna claim damages that may end up costing the project.
So these are the people, they're just looking to sue somebody.
Environmentalists that
Environmentalists.
are protecting, they've got
Mitigation
mitigation banks, and it's valuable mitigation land, et cetera, et cetera. It's just not, we don't have to go there. We don't have to go there. I'm telling you.
We have other avenues to make this work the way it is.
I understand it, and the reason I was asking that question is, I know it takes time, and you got these, what's always looking to sue somebody for something. But what if at some point, and I'm speaking on my behalf, not for anybody else on this council, I want to make that clear. What happens if there was something that came to a happy medium and the permitting process started eventually gaining momentum to revisit that trigger point, let's say within a 5 to 6 year time frame, however long it takes? You think these people are still, they're just waiting like hawks to pounce on something?
So when you close the structure, it raises the water level on the south side of the structure. And that is what they say impacts Avoca, okay? And they're the people who are gonna do it. You know, this is not my first time here. I came here the very first time to make the presentation to you all. And felt like we were all partners in this, because it's important. And we're trying to do, in between all of these laws and rules and regulations, we're trying to keep the people safe, okay? And we know, I have many friends besides Bill that live in the Stevensville area, you know, and they in Assumption area, they praise what we do when we close the structure. And I promise you, we're gonna close that structure to protect the people, you know, and.
So an emergency declaration apparently carries a lot of weight.
Absolutely. We do what we want to do, or what we have to do. And it's not what we want to do, but what we have to do is protect the people.
So just to be clear, and I'm educating myself while we're discussing this, if, God forbid, an emergency declaration is made, that permit is basically,
We rely on emergency declarations for storm closures. So, you know, as your council can tell you, once the parish president declares an emergency, and then the governor declares an emergency, typically, we look for that, we ask for that. Parish president declares an emergency, that gives us sufficient rationale for the board to take action. And I think in hindsight, people are not gonna fault the board members for taking action that they believe is reasonable and necessary under the circumstances. And when you get a declaration, then that's huge. I mean, that's very important. I mean, you know, so.
Another good example is during Hurricane Francine, we did close a structure. And again, it takes 8 hours. It's not a quick process. A day or two before a storm, we get a call from Coast Guard saying, hey, we got a vessel south of the structure with 100 people on board. And unfortunately, the answer was, I'm sorry. I can't open the structure and get it closed before the storm. That's the answer we've given industry a number of times when it's, hey, we need to get out. I'm sorry. You know, these people's homes and their property and their lives are more important than some of the stuff that you need to do.
Ms. Jean-Baptiste?
I'm good. Mr. Mellison had actually asked the question I was going to ask. If it's clear that we can get an emergency declaration by the parish president, then that would allow us to be able to trigger the closure of that. So that kind of gives us the leeway, and it could be a happy medium for us.
And
the
let
residents.
me caveat it by saying this, because we've run into this before. If you're declaring an emergency because you don't want a no wake zone in Lower St. Martin, that's not a good enough reason.
No, right.
It's got to be a legitimate reason for us to close it, which means protecting people and property.
I think the only time this body or the parish president would ever ask for something like that would be during a flooding situation or hurricane. That's what the structure was put there for.
Right.
does it take us to declare something, or the parish president to declare an emergency and then the governor? Or it just depends on what we declare?
Just the parish president.
Being at the table with the IGA that we presented to you from the start,
Okay.
you have a voice.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Okay, appreciate it.
Safe travels.
Special business, summary number 070RS, a resolution proclaiming the week of August 2nd through 8th, 2026 as National Health Center Week in St. Martin Parish.
I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Mr. Mellison, second by Mr. Louvier. Call for the vote. I think, is it Ms. Phillips?
Dr. Benjamin.
Dr. Benjamin's here. Would you like to come up? I know you, we wanted to take a picture and present the proclamation. You want to,
Do y'all want to go down?
yeah, we can go down and we'll take a picture of the parish president presenting you the proclamation, if that's fine. Okay.
Just put your head down. Council to meet as a Board of Adjustment to consider granting an exception to Raymond and Pearl Lachele, Ricky Huval, to build a single-family dwelling on property zone C2 General Commercial located at TBD Dalmalanson Road, lot number 3A1, parcel ID 09202B 4234, Brobridge, District 5.
I need a motion and a second to grant the exception. I have a motion by the chair, second by Mr. Mellison. Call for the vote.
Council to meet as a Board of Adjustment to consider granting an exception to Denny Jett to move a single-family mobile home on property zone W3, Woodland, Floodplain Commercial, Light Industrial Uses, located at 1156 Stevensville Road, Morgan City, District 1.
I need a motion and a second to grant the exception. I have a motion by Mr. Louvier, second by Mr. Mellison. Call for the vote.
Council to meet as a Board of Adjustment to consider granting an exception to Gerald Wayne Bro II to move a single-family movable home on property zoned I-1 Light Industrial located at 1178 Grand Anse Highway, lot number 4, Brobridge, District 8.
I need a motion and a second to grant the exception. I have a motion by Mr. Mellison, second by Mr. Clay. Call for the vote.
Rule to show cause to address nuisance property located at 1030 Roban Street, Arnaville, District 9, property owned by Joseph Roy Etienne.
Ms. Thibodeau? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Alamo.
Good afternoon. I'm not too sure if the ATNs are here this afternoon. I don't think they are. The property at 1030 Roban Street is owned by Mr. Joseph Roy ATN. The nuisance complaint was put in due to an old car that was junk trash, debris to the rear of the property coming around to the front, and also long grass. This is in Mr. Corville's district, District 9. Him and I discussed it. There were a few properties along Roban Street, including this one, that we recently worked on. The ATNs were, well, Mr. Joseph ATN was served. And we did have conversation with him regarding the property. What he did, he picked up most of the debris to the rear of the property. And the pictures of the property are at this angle because that's where most of the debris, just trash, a few things were. They do live in the structure. It's not abandoned. So they do occupy the premises. The vehicle, as you can see in both the pictures, it wasn't covered at one point. The photo from July, it's covered. So he told Mr. Solari that the vehicle can be used and it's a classic vehicle. He doesn't plan on getting rid of it. So If y'all have any questions for me regarding the property, just let me know.
Any questions?
Do you have any comments?
Yeah, I mean, he obviously started doing a couple of things, but I think, we needed to continue, so I don't think we'll back off of this. We
Yeah,
push forward, yeah.
he did start stacking. I know y'all have photos in your packet so you could see a little better, and then on your iPads, things you can zoom in. It's hard to see from up here, but he stacked a lot of the wood that he just had thrown everywhere. So he did pick up a lot of the debris that was in the back. I know I'm gonna flip, but I know what it looks like. He did improve it a lot. He does have some improving to do. So.
Okay, if no further questions, I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Mr. Corville, second by Mr. Clay. Call for the vote.
Rule to show cause to address nuisance property located at 1036 Robin Street, Orneville, District 9, property owned by Ella and Michael LLC.
The property at 1036 Robin Street is owned by an LLC, so it's Ella and Michael LLC. We did do a certified mail delivery on this one. It was delivered July 6th, 2026. The complaint on this one was regarding debris in the front, junk vehicles, long grass, trash also in the front of the property. I did speak with a property manager for this particular parcel, not the property owner, so I'm unsure if a property owner or the manager is here this afternoon. No. So this parcel, trash was picked up in the front yard, the debris, toys, just a lot of things that they had to the front of the property. Grass was cut. Pretty much all that's left is the vehicles. And as you can see, there's a pile of vehicles with a massive tree, bush, shrubbery, all in the back. I did speak with the property manager about all the vehicles. She said, there's no way that that's back there. I said, well, when you're going to get there, you're going to see that. And I hadn't talked to her since about those 3 vehicles. So that's what that looks like.
Okay, if there's no questions, I need a motion and a second to proceed with the order of condemnation. I have a motion by Mr. Corville, second by Mr. Clay. Call for the vote.
Ordinance is introduced for public hearing.
I need a motion and a second to open public hearing. I have a motion by Mr. Melanson, second by Mr. Clay. Call for the vote.
Summary number 15520R, an ordinance reducing the speed limit to 30 miles per hour on Wilford-Champaign Road located in District 4.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on this item?
Summary number 15530R, an ordinance amending Chapter 19, St. Martin Parish zoning ordinance, Appendix D, Parish road zoning data sheets of the Code of Ordinances for the St. Martin Parish government by amending the zoning classification district on a portion of a road zoned in the original ordinance adopted on December 18th, 1995, 1043 Camp Bonton Road, lot number 11.
Ms. Alamo?
Mm-hmm. 1043 Camp Bonton Road. This rezoning petition came before the Planning Commission on June 25th, 2026. The Planning Commission's recommendation to you as the Parish Council was to approve the rezoning from R2 to C1 with conditions. And so you all have that recommendation with the conditions and along with the meeting minutes. Sent to you was the packet. that had the information regarding his business and what he's trying to do, which is Palmboro Carts. He's trying to open up a golf cart business. So I believe he also sent in other documents this week. I forwarded that over to Ms. Thibodeau, so you should have all that information. And this is Mr. Casey Combe. He's the owner of that business. So if you have any further questions for him regarding that, you can ask him those questions.
Any questions? Ms. Jean-Baptiste?
Can you, I didn't look at all of the recommendations. What were the additional recommendations for the planning and zoning?
Sorry, Miss Carla, hold on a second.
I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
I'll get them to you. Oh.
You have them, Brooke?
You want me to give them to you?
Who wants them? I think that's the one thing I didn't bring. Sorry.
The change in the zoning classification. Okay, I'm to provide that material. This is-
Get time to review, Ms.
I'm good, huh?
Corvette, in your district, get time.
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I had been in contact with Mr. Corville throughout the whole process.
Okay, if no further questions, yes, Mr. Corvette, you had something you
No, I
want
was
to
just gonna say, we did, Morgan and I talked, and Mr. Coleman and I talked, and I will let you know that through this process, once he kind of realized what he needed to do, he's been proactive in getting everything going. He's not trying to cut corners or circumvent the process. So it's a man's turn to start a business, and I think we should approve it. So,
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, we good.
Nope, I have that.
Summary number
Thank you.
Summary number 1554 OR, an ordinance amending Chapter 19, St. Martin Parish zoning ordinance, Appendix D, Parish Road zoning data sheets of the Code of Ordinances for the St. Martin Parish government by amending the zoning classification district on a portion of a road zoned in the original ordinance adopted on December 18th, 1995, 1073 Nina Highway.
Ms. Alamo?
1073 Nina Highway, rezoning petition from R2 to C1. That also came in front of the Planning Commission on June 25th, 2026. The recommendation from the Planning Commission to you as the council was to approve with conditions. Those conditions, you also should have that in your packet. That was sent to Ms. Brooke as well. I do have the business owner and property owner with me, Ms. Tawny Marie Williams-Jones. She is trying to establish a snowball stand on her property. I didn't receive any phone calls or anything like that. That's a huge question she's had for me recently. Just kind of wanted to clarify that for her. So if you have any questions for me or for her, you're more than welcome to ask. This is in Mr. Clay's district. Him and I had spoke about it recently. I know one of the concerns that he called me on, the property is located in one of the curves along Nina Highway. And Mr. Clay and I spoke, and they wanted to know how were the customers going to enter and exit. And she has a large U-shaped driveway, so she plans on placing the mobile unit on the south side of the U-shaped driveway. And so it'll help the customers to be able to pile in and not back up onto the highway.
Is that the one with the little snowball? That's gonna be a little snowball stand?
Yes, that's correct.
My granddaughter spotted that little unit already, so,
Ask if she can help you, right?
yeah. Okay.
Yes. Do you have any questions?
I don't. Good evening.
Good. Any questions from the council? Everybody's good? Thank you.
Summary number 1555 OR, an ordinance authorizing St. Martin Parish government to purchase immovable property identified under parcel ID 17201B 1148 of the St. Martin Parish Tax Assessor and matters related thereto.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on this item? I have the property we're talking about here, is this the property that we're looking to purchase from the city?
Adjudicated property.
Adjudicated?
Old wooden house. If you remember correctly, back in the day, a couple of years ago, we purchased the property in the back.
Mm-hmm.
It was 16.5, and that was vacated property. This is property on the road, and he assessed the value of $10,000 with another $10,000 to demo and raise that. So you're looking at an approximation of about $20,000 to purchase the property from the city, and then to get the building raised and cleared out so that they can start the process of the clerk of courts building.
Does the city own 100% of this property?
They own 92%. The other 8% is owned by the Burt Willis Estate. Mr. Lee is on top of that, and it should be little or no problem to force that 8% and get clearance on that.
So Lee, you want to comment on that to make sure we good to do
Yeah,
this?
so, the 8%, what's left, we're gonna have to partition it, seek a partition with the court. It's all deceased, from what I've ascertained from my research, it's all deceased parties. So it'll be an action with a curator to partition the property with the remaining 8%.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you. I need a motion and a second to close public hearing. I have a motion by Mr. Clay, second by Mr. Mellison. Call for the vote.
Summary number 15520R, an ordinance reducing the speed limit to 30 miles per hour on Wilfred Champagne Road located in District 4.
I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Mr. Mellison, second by Mr. Clay. Call for the vote.
Summary number 15530R, an ordinance amending Chapter 19, St. Martin Parish zoning ordinance, Appendix D, Parish road zoning data sheets of the Code of Ordinances for the St. Martin Parish government by amending the zoning classification district on a portion of a road zoned in the original ordinance adopted on December 18, 1995, 1043 Camp Anton Road, lot number 11.
I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Mr. Corville, second by Mr. Mellison. Call for the vote.
Summary number 15540R, an ordinance amending Chapter 19, St. Martin Parish zoning ordinance, Appendix D, Parish road zoning data sheets of the Code of Ordinances for the St. Martin Parish government by amending the zoning classification district on a portion of a road zoned in the original ordinance adopted on December 18, 1995, 1073 Nina Highway.
I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Mr. Mellison, second by Mr. Clay. Call for the vote.
Summary number 15550R, an ordinance authorizing St. Martin Parish government to purchase immovable property identified under parcel ID 17201B1148 of the St. Martin Parish Tax Assessor and matters related thereto.
I need a motion and a second. I have a motion. I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Mr. Louvier, second by Ms. Norstees. Call for the vote.
Resolutions. Summary number 071RS, a resolution reappointing Yvette Morris to serve as a member of the Greater St. Martinville Economic Development District.
I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Ms. Jean-Baptiste, second by Mr. Clay. Call for the vote.
Summary number 072RS, a resolution reappointing Tanya Kale Pelche, Carlos Knott, and Fred Foti Jr. to serve as members of the St. Martin Parish Tourism Commission.
I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Mr. Melanson, seconded by Mr. Clay. Call for the vote.
Summary number 073RS, a resolution appointing Jerry Bellard to serve as a member of the St. Martin Parish Fire Protection District Civil Service Board.
I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Mr. Melanson, second by Mr. Clay. Call for the vote.
Summary number 074RS, a resolution authorizing Parish President Pete Delcom to execute change order number 2 in the amount of $22,567.95 increase and a contract time extension of 5 days for the Petroleum Parkway Extension Project by SEMA Construction, LLC.
I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Ms. Jean-Baptiste, second by Mr. Clay. Call for the vote.
Summary number 075RS, a resolution authorizing Parish President Pete Delcom to execute change order number 2 for a contract time extension of 90 days for the St. Martin Consolidated Waterworks District Number 4 Water Sector Program Contract Number 5C Distribution System Fire Hydrant Replacement and Meters Project by Core and Main, LP.
I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Ms. Narcisse, second by Ms. Jean-Baptiste. Call for the vote.
Summary number 076RS, a resolution authorizing and directing the parish president to execute for and on behalf of the St. Martin Parish Government a certificate of substantial completion pertaining to the St. Martin Consolidated Waterworks District Number 4 Water Sector Program Contract Number 4 Elevated Tank Rehabilitation Project, St. Martin Parish, Louisiana.
I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Mr. Melanson, second by Mr. Louviere. Call for the vote.
Summary number 077RS, a resolution authorizing Parish President Pete Delcom to execute change order number 1 for a contract time extension of 60 days for the St. Martin Consolidated Waterworks District Number 4 Water Sector Program Contract Number 5B Distribution System Water Line Crossing Project by Cody Construction, LLC.
I just, one question, Mr. Delcom. The 207 days, will that interfere with the time that we're supposed to complete the project?
No, this is retroactive going back to May, in that the extension time will end at the end of August.
Okay.
So basically, it's within the parameters to where it'll be complete and it should have no conflict with what we had discussed before.
Okay. I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Ms. Jean-Baptiste, second by Mr. Melanson. Call for the vote.
Summary number 078RS, a resolution authorizing Parish President Pete Delcom to execute change order number 2 in the amount of $135 decrease and a contract time extension of 207 days for the St. Martin Consolidated Waterworks District Number 4 Water Sector Program Contract Number 5A Distribution System Isolation Valves Project by Cody Construction of Louisiana, LLC.
I think I jumped the gun. I was one ahead. This is the one I was.
This is the one, they were having trouble finding the pre-existing valves because they were covered up with all the construction over the years, so it set everything back. However, again, this was retroactive back in May, and it should culminate at the end of this month, and everything should correlate and fall into line with the project.
Okay. Thank you. I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Mr. Melanson, second by Mr. Louviere. Call for the vote.
Ordinance is introduced for publication. Summary number 1556OR, an ordinance providing for an amendment to the year 2026 operating and maintenance budget for the Health Unit Maintenance Fund, Fund Number 251, Animal Control. Summary number 1557 OR, an ordinance providing for the lease purchase of one Caterpillar 30808 hydraulic excavator. Summary number 1558 OR, an ordinance reducing the extent of the servitude rights of St. Martin Parish government from 100 feet to 30 feet on the western side of that certain drainage channel designated as M1, where it borders parcel number 17002B 4752. Summary number 1559 OR, an ordinance creating the position of Assistant to the Director of Administration, adding that position to the St. Martin Parish pay schedule and organizational chart, and assigning the position to pay range 10. Executive session. Council to enter executive session to discuss the following litigation: St. Martin Parish Government versus Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government, bearing number 91813F of the docket of the 16th Judicial District Court in and for St. Martin Parish, Louisiana.
I need a motion and a second to enter executive session. I have a motion by Ms. Jean Baptiste, second by Mr. Mellison. Call for the vote.
It's just right here.
I noticed that when I went over it.
It's just,
And I wondered what it was. It's like, was it
we're gonna have to move
they were
this.
cleaning it? Oh, yeah, so it was just under there that it's clean.
It's just here, but now like my shoes is sticky.
Yeah, I had the same thing.
I mean, it's not like you're not aware of it.
That's why I said the back end, it's blurry.
You can sit, Wayne.
I didn't understand what was challenging that in the executive session, so she sent the text and said, my God, she says, he walked up, he goes, oh, so this is where this is going. I had to answer that.
Am I supposed to sit and them owners that's in trouble because they short statement? She should have heard that. Okay, I'm just making sure because it involves me. Right.
I know, right?
She gave me the words.
That's right. See, always with me. Am I missing something?
Yeah, you just haven't worked here long enough. You tried to be funny and you were down, so you could talk. Yes.
He probably was.
We were sitting by.
Pretty sure the car has to go to the church. It looks like 7 feet.
So then Chris, we tried to talk about it, but then the other person needed, and that was more important. So no. I think we need to give him that. So he needs to go talk to that constituent and try to help her. When I talked to her, I talked to her, I told her, please don't go to the she likes it. I think.
I don't think y'all need a motion or anything.
I need a motion in a second, right? You ready? I need a motion second to exit, uh,
Executive.
executive session. I got a motion by Mr. Clay, second by Mr. Mellison. Call for the vote.
I hit the wrong button.
It's fine, we'll know that you.
No, it's not fun.
You need a revote?
Yeah, I want to revote. Please.
Now you gonna stay in there by yourself?
Okay, we can do a revote.
I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Mr. Clay, second by Mr. Louviere. Call for the vote.
You did that, when, you remember when you did that, huh?
Ms. Jean-Baptiste, Mr. Corville.
Thank you.
That's right.
Are you giving an update?
Just roll through that.
Do you want Lee to give an update or no? Do you want Lee?
Yeah, Lee, you wanna give a?
Yeah, so the council and others went in executive session for the litigation as indicated on the agenda, commonly known as the Spall Banks. And the council and the parish president had a great conversation of some of the new things that are going on with the case, some of the discussion with our council that's handling the case, and a little bit of strategy. Unfortunately, and it's only for the protection of the case, we're gonna keep a lot of that confidential at this time. But the parish president and the council is excited to hopefully share some of that as things progress a little further. So stay tuned for some more updates.
Thank you.
Informational items not requiring council action. Discussion on siltation in Catahoula Lake.
Mr. Corville?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's me. I wanted to come in and go ahead.
All right. On the Catahoula Lake siltation, we, in September of this year, there'll be 4 years that we completed the project. And, it looks like we have a sandbar building in the middle of that lake already. Pretty bad, pretty significant. It's pretty, I went out there and in areas that, before we did the project, that were like +1, +2 in a LiDAR, you can still kind of pass a boat. They got a couple of spots in there you can't pass a boat right now. It's almost, in some places, worse than when we actually did the project from the initiative. The deepest part of the channel on the first LiDAR that we did before pre-project, I want to go back and say it was about 7.5, 8 foot. Right now, it's still about 12, 13 foot, probably about 12 foot wide maybe. There's a channel that's still opened up, but all the siltation behind, like by Shane's, Pee-wee's, that area right there, that's always used to be the deepest part of the lake, they silted up pretty bad. Across where the sandbar is at is on Mr. Kiki Bork's side, on the opposite side. This is some major obstacle for us because we spent money that we had got on a bond to get this thing done. So we reached out. Mr. Delco wasn't here, so we had a conversation with Mr. Raymond, kind of told him what was going on. And we have reached out to Sellers and Associates, who was the engineers in the project. I think we have a meeting set up tomorrow to kind of go away with Sellers to see where we at and kind of see when the project was done, at the end, the depths we had brought down. I believe the depths were down to 8 foot initially. So if that lake did fill up that quick, we got a serious concern. I guess we'll have to decide, make sure it was done, that everything was taken out that was supposed to have been taken out. And if it was taken out, I guess the next step would be to get in touch with the Corps of Engineers and see what we're gonna do, what can be done about it, because, we can't every 4 years come back and do a dredging project in the Lake of Catahoula. But the one significant thing that comes to play right now is we just finished passing 31 inches of rain from the north. That water all came down through the Catawba locks and ended up down by Yami, the Bayou Bay Road, which came into Catahoula Lake. So that lake doesn't drain just St. Martin Parish. It drains water all the way from the Red River that comes all the way from the north. So, but here's the problem. If it silted up that fast in 4 years, we don't have 4 more years to wait to do something now. It's got to be something done real quick, something fast. So I guess I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention. There was people putting pictures of it on Facebook. Shane sent me some pictures. He's the one that noticed it the first. He lives right down the lake. And he called me about it. So we went, Mr. Louvier went out there, took pictures and looked at it. I went out there with a boat to see exactly how bad it is. And I can tell you, I was there before we did the dredging project, and I'm there. I went this time. It's not far off. It's unbelievable that that lake could silt up that quick, that fast. So I guess we'll get more answers tomorrow with Sellers and Associates when we meet with them. I just wanted to bring it to the attention of the council because it's a serious issue. Mr. Louvier?
So, of course, we have the meeting tomorrow. Everybody knows that lives in that area, when the rains come in, it's not clear water that's coming down. It's red water, it's muddy water, it's carrying siltation. So the good thing is, as far as we could tell, the middle of the cut, there's still a bayou there, but the lake is pretty much going away.
Yes.
You know,
All right. So it's a concern, and I know we have the meeting tomorrow, Chris, but I'd like to put it back on the agenda so we could talk about it
for the committee meeting?
for the committee meeting.
Okay.
Because we'll have more information to.
I think once we meet with the Sellers and we get some information from him, what we can do is try to get him to come, let him put some stuff together, and once he has some more information and he finds out more about it, and we can kind of get a little game plan, we can maybe bring it back for a committee meeting to have a discussion on it, just to make sure that the project was done to the original depths that it was supposed to have been done, and just to kind of find out where we go from here.
And every drainage project we do north of that area is gonna be affected in a negative way because it's not flowing like it should. So it's all stuff that we need to take into consideration.
Right, so just my opinion, I think one of the biggest projects we have in the parish is the Ali's Bonaire, because it affects so many homes and areas from the Cecilia, Hornerville area, all that Grand Anse area. That project was a project that we have on our targets that needs to get done. If we were to do that project before, doing something in Catahoula, I don't know if we could pass those floodwaters. And it's not just those waters, like I said, our water is very minimal that comes to Red Lake. It's the water that we carry all the way up from the Red River and on down. Because, we were in a unique position on this last flood event. We passed 31 inches of rain that came north that we didn't get, that came from another parish. But we were able to open up the locks in Catawba, and past half the water was coming over the weirs coming into put into Bayou Ami. But the other half was going into the basin. We're not always going to be lucky. And I can tell you, since I've been here, working with Donald Segura, with Tesh Vermillion and stuff, and being involved in a lot of things, that's it. 75% of the time, we can't pass the water to the basin. Because most of the time when we get those events, like at the rivers at a certain height, and the water will flow the opposite way, we can't pass water to the basin. So a lot of that water, most of the time, the flood water is coming over those two weirs. And then when it comes over them 2 500-foot weirs, there's nothing you can do. That's why we were working on the project. I keep telling you all about that. We're working with to try to get those locks put in. A lot of that is that siltation. If you don't have a good constant water flow going through there, when you start getting that slow water, it's located in. If everybody's familiar with the lake in Catahoula, it's got 2 short bends right there. Mm-hmm. So it slows that water, and if it slows that water, it's not moving quick enough. We all know what happens. That siltation drops, and that's it's hard to believe, but I tell you, Shane's out there, he can tell you it's for real.
The current's flowing from north to south, but you got a south wind that's stopping it, so.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring this up for the council to know, and that we're gonna be meeting and trying to work to come up with an idea or plan on see where we need to go with this thing next. So here's up for discussion. Thank you.
Discussion on maintaining laterals in a wetland.
I'd like to defer this because I don't think we're ready to speak on this just yet. I'd like to defer indefinitely.
Discussion on administrative department presentations at council meetings.
I know we've been having, we had different departments come up for informational reasons, not generally for us, but now that our meetings are televised, where it gives the general public an idea of what we do here. And it gives us a highlight of some of the stuff that's being done in different areas, like we did with tourism, did with media, we did with certain ones. And there was a denial from administration to allow a couple of people to do it. And I know we have another one coming up with the K community and with Keisha, and we were told that administration doesn't want Keisha to give us a presentation. Is that true?
Is that a question?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I had previously, these are administrative departments that come to the council as requested by the council to give an oversight of what their department does. And I have no problem with that. And, but I do have, the problem that I have was that this is being morphed into areas that are over and above just an explanation of the administrative department giving an overview. And I had conversation with yourself, and it seems that the continuation of this platform is becoming more apparent, of which I'm not in favor of. If this is just going to be my interpretation as just an overview of the department, it's pretty cut and dry. There's going to be some questions, not a problem. However, as I did bring to your attention, that if you have an individual concern about something in the department, if you have an individual concern about something outside of the general purview of the department, I think that this can be either brought outside of this council meeting, or if you, as the council chair and the council wants to discuss this within this purview, that I need to, and my administrators need to have some kind of direction as to where we're going with this. Because I think it's unfair to use a platform and then to bring up a discussion that we are not prepared. And I want to be totally transparent and give a total and definitive direction and knowledge and information to the council and to the public, as this is a public meeting. But I'm not able to, nor are my directors or supervisors, if we don't know what's going to be presented. You know, so either if you want to bring up these individual discussions, it could possibly be put into the position of an agenda item with some kind of description to where, for lack of a better word, I don't feel, and my directors and supervisors don't feel blindsided by what we're being presented with. And that's where I'm at.
So I guess Mr. Alexander, Ms. Jean-Baptiste, myself, Ms. Narcisse, we were here with previous administrations. And this is not something new that we just decided to start doing with this council. I mean, we were doing it before, to where it's something to where it was informational, to where Section 8. And what we did, we sat down at the beginning of the year with a calendar, a few council members with our clerk, and we decided who we're going to get to come at committee meetings, each department, just to come and give us a brief discussion of what was going on, tell us about what projects they were working on. It's to enlighten the council and the public to what we're working on and what we're doing. I don't think, and then look, if somebody sees any different, I don't know whether we've tried to put any director, anybody at a point or anything on anything. I mean, we were just basically doing stuff that we've been doing for previous years, through previous administrations.
I'm going to disagree with you, Councilman. And I'm going to read a series of emails between yourself and myself, and with discretion, trying to describe my position. And then I think from that, I can then elaborate as to what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm going to digress. Back in the first year of my administration, Ms. Jean-Baptiste was the council chair. She approached me and describing that she would like to, as was in previous administrations, bring in different departments to elaborate and to give an oversight of what they do, which I didn't have a problem. Ms. Jean-Baptiste, either personally or through Ms. Brooke, would give me a month by month, well, look, we'd like to bring in such and such, such and such. It's gotten to the point where I see in the agenda 1 and 2 departments that I'm not aware of or has ever been brought to my attention. Okay, I can let that go. So as we continue, on June 8th, I get an email from Ms. Brooke. Good afternoon, Chairman Tozan has requested a presentation be made at the July 7th regular meeting, providing an overview of public works operations. I will repeat, providing an overview of public works operations. Okay, I then replied to this request to all. And this was to all. As previously described, these presentations are to give the council and the general public an overview of the particular department and its overall function and goals. I feel the presentations, as they were getting longer and longer, should be able to achieve these goals in an appropriate 10-minute presentation so as not to interfere with the timing and actual function of the council meeting. Of course, general questions are always accepted. However, individual issues or concerns might be best addressed at a more appropriate time. Now, I structured those words purposely with discretion, not telling anybody what to do, how to do, when to do, but my concern was individual issues or concerns might best be addressed at a more appropriate time. Then you reply, as a reminder that it's a parish council meeting. Well aware of that. And as chairman of the council, I can determine how much time is needed to conduct our meetings. I'm sure they will be questions from members of the council. And it's not about putting anyone in a bad position. It's about communication. Of which I replied, Councilman Tozan, with all due respect, I am well aware of the constitutional parameters of the council meeting. And as such, I am gladly and wholeheartedly allowing different departments of my administration to participate in the council's meetings, knowing the beneficial knowledge that can be shared from this participation. Therefore, I'm sure we can all be respectful of each one's wishes and guidelines with anticipation of the benefits therein. Looking forward to our next meeting. I'm sure we can all be respectful of each one's wishes and guidelines. And I will go back to a presentation to be made providing an overview of public works. Of course, general questions are always accepted. However, individual issues or concerns might best be addressed at a more appropriate time. And then you, at the next meeting, this was June, and at the July 7th meeting, you bring up, after Mr. Jason Castile, my Public Works Director, gives an overview of his department, you individually bring up the issue of wetlands, which again, it appears that you're using this platform. You bring up the wetlands problem that you foresee, which you then request a position from the attorney, and I get a 6-page position or rebuttal, not rebuttal, but position from the attorney on this wetlands issue. So I think that would morph into you're bringing issues and concerns that piggybacking it onto a public works department to open up a platform. And at that point in time, Mr. Jason, myself, no one in administration had any information to be able to answer your questions or to be able to give any kind of valid response to your questions. And I'll piggyback, Mr. Corville then has documentation of a statute, a partial documentation. So this tells me there was some premeditation as to where this, Mr. Jason's presentation was going to go. And I don't feel that that's respectful of the Department of Public Works last month or myself, in that, for lack of a better word, we're being blindsided by a position that you want immediate answers to that I am not prepared to give. And I don't think it's fair. And I don't want this to continue. Now, I did, in these emails, I addressed that. And I brought it to your attention, but you doubled down on it. And I have no problem in anytime a council person wants to know anything about an administrative department, if they have any questions about something that may have occurred within the department that they may have concerns about, I don't have a problem with it. If you'd like to discuss it in my office, on the phone, in an email, not a problem. If you'd like to discuss it in this public meeting, I have no problem with that. But I need to be given some direction so that I can fully explain the question that may be brought to my attention. And that's where I'm at with it.
To go back to answer some of the things that were said, I think our clerk does an outstanding job of notifying your office and notifying you pre-meetings before that we're gonna be, who we're gonna be bringing in or asking to come in to give us a presentation. I don't feel we've ever targeted anybody or anyone from any part of the division. That's never happened. If you remember right in the last discussion we had, we've had discussions with Mr. Castillo about why we weren't digging in wetlands. And he told us that the administration had decided that we couldn't dig through wetlands. And so we gave Jason the information. We shared it with the administration that there was a part that was inside of, and allowed us to do it according to what the Corps engineers had in their rules. And I don't see where you came up with, we targeted anybody with, so it was in the meeting, we're talking about public works, and we, at the same time, while we're in here, we didn't use it as a platform. We had been discussing it for months. You know, I think most of the people in this council has a lot of discussions with your public works people and other people in administration, everybody. We might not have conversations with you, but that's not our fault. And I know you're gonna say the phone goes both ways, but listen, when you're the leader of the parish and you're running this parish, I think we 9 of us, I think you ought to be reaching out a little bit more, but that's a different argument. I don't think we've ever disrespected anybody in your administration. And even though they're in your administration, these people still work for parish government. And the last time I checked, we all part of parish government. And I don't think we're trying to overstep our authority. We're just using this for general discussions, for informational purposes. And I don't know where you've ever found that we, and if we disrespected Mr. Castillo, I apologize, because that wasn't the intent. We're talking about public works and projects and stuff, and we where we were on those projects, but it was a discussion that's been going on for months. So what I wanted, I guess, if anybody from the council wants to chime in and say what they feel or how they feel about this, but I just think if we're not gonna get anywheres on, bringing in people from different parts of the administration to come in and just give us an overview of what's going on, and we should be able to ask questions at those times and stuff. If we can't do that, then we need to know from you, who can we bring in, who we can't, or if you're telling us it's over, it's done, we can't do it anymore, that's fine. That's your choice.
No, well, I digress again with your comment.
Ms. Narcisse, you got a question?
I'm sorry, Ms. Narcisse.
I don't have a question. I have a clear up. So, Chair mentioned that bringing the directors of the different departments in front of the council started with the past administration. It did. And for me, how I adjusted to it is because the administrator, which the parish president, allowed it. So I was good for it because I would get, I'm gonna speak for myself, I would get a lot of calls, questions, just situations going on that related to a department of something that took place. So when that came up and we started doing that, that was helpful because I would tell people either come, tune in, however, whatever, this person is on the agenda. If you have a question, you'll be able to ask it or whatever. Needless to say, many times that in that time, directors came up and we will say, okay, they viewing, it is streaming live. Those parties wouldn't even come to the meeting. So yes, I do represent the people, but I do represent myself too if I'm working hard. And it wouldn't even come to the meeting, but they had me going back and forth and asking, this, that, and all the rest. To lead to now, that was then. Leading to now, Parish President, if you feel that conversation or that can be handled a different way, then I respect that. I even respect more, and then some of the directors can tell you, if somebody does call me, hey, his name is Mr. Raymond. Call 394 such and such. If he doesn't pick up, just leave a message. And if you have a direct question, I'm more than sure he'll be able to answer it, or he'll find out the answer than having me as a middleman. And I'm good. I love that part. I really would love that part. And I've been doing it. So if you choose not to have it, I'm still good too.
Listen, it's been 2.5 years, almost 3 years I've been here. And we've always had these open discussions with departments. Never had a problem with it. And I've always encouraged the council to have direct contact with directors and supervisors. There is in the home rule charter, a definitive divide. The council is the legislative branch. The executive is the executive branch, the parish president. The administration is under the administration of the parish president. There's no question there because that is the constitution of our government. And I don't have a problem with that. Like I said, I would just need, in the event that we are going to discuss again, I guess the straw that broke the camel's back was this wetlands piggybacking off of Public Works overview, something that is, first of all, a lot of what was said, I think, was incorrect. I think a lot of what Mr. Durio has in his position clarifies some of that. It's not as simple as, yes, we can do it. Why aren't we doing it? We've done it before. Why aren't you doing it? That's how I took it. And I thought a lot of it was wrong. And to piggyback off of a Public Works overview, I think this was a lot more involved than, and if you want to go into individual issues and concerns of administration, I need more information. I need more direction.
No, I just want to clarify something. When this presentation came about, I actually, underneath the previous administration, had got with Mr. Cedars and asked, because as a new council member, Ms. Narcisse and I were visiting different departments, and we didn't know a lot about those different departments. So that's how that came about. And then what I did with this year, and maybe Ms. Brooke could share that, we took, when you came into office, I took the list that we previously had did with the previous administration, and we identified something for every month for them to be able to make the presentation so the new council members could receive that information. And then this year, what we did was took those same committee, kind of switched it up, not departments, but when they did their presentation to fall more in line of what we needed because we've moved to televising the presentation. So Ms. Brooke, I'm gonna ask that you, since we created it out for the year, you can provide that to the parish president. It's the same departments, no new departments. The information they present may be what they previously present with some new stuff because we've making changes in those departments. And so I just want to clarify, because you mentioned my name with that, that's how that all started. So that way it educates. It came out of curiosity for me and Ms. Narcisse, and we wanted everybody else to have that same insight.
And I think it's a very good presentation. I think it's a very good platform to continue. I just, in the event that individual situations or individual issues, as we had last month, that's a side issue. This is not something that is to be piggybacked on a presentation of a department. And
Mr.
I
Mellison,
think
you
we
have a
can do a
question?
little better job of doing that to get a more clarified and more definitive answer to your question, as opposed to, I'm sitting here and I know nothing about it, and I mean, even.
You can, you express your
Excuse me, can I
concern more than
continue,
once.
please?
No, excuse
Excuse me, can I
yourself.
continue,
Mr.
please?
Mellison, you have a question? Would you like to speak?
Can I continue?
No,
Sometimes
we
I
heard
ask-
what you said 2 or 4 times. You're just repeating yourself over and over on the same thing. We have other council members that have what we'd like to discuss.
I enjoy when we have specific departments or any departments that come and do some sort of presentation for us. I periodically ask questions. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't. And speaking on this particular matter, I've been knowing Jason for years, and he knows if I have a question, I'm gonna call him. I called him last week on a bunch of different things, or a couple of different things. Sometimes he answers, so he'll text me, hey, I'll call you right back, no problem. I think sometimes we all as human beings get into this mode where in settings like this, we feel like we're being set up, and that is, from my point of view, that is not the intent. I may ask questions, just like on my day-to-day job, I get asked questions, and it makes sometimes uncomfortable and uneasiness simply because it's the real world. This is a public entity. We all serve at the convenience of our constituents. Most of us are elected here. I don't have a problem with somebody coming up, and if they get up there and ask a question, you say, you know what, I don't have the answer. Okay, just let me know, that's fine. I'm not using this platform, as it keeps being referenced to, as a gotcha. And I think you have heard me say that a couple of times, and some other people as well, guest speakers. I'll preface sometimes when I ask a question, this is not a gotcha moment. I'm genuinely asking because I don't know. Just, if you know the answer, fine, educate me on it. So I think we all get into a mode where when something comes up and it's a hot topic, and I know the wetlands and the laterals was one of them, and I even jumped in and said, well, why were we doing it in the past and we're not doing it now? Again, it wasn't directed at an individual. It was directed at a situation where, why are we not doing it now when we did it in the past? So I want to make sure that it's clear. From my point of view, I welcome any department that wants to come up and let us know what's going on. I don't have a problem with that at all. And if there's questions, I'm going to ask. Because what it does is it educates me on, if someone calls me a constituent or anybody, just in passing, hey, what about this, this, and this? Well, this is the process, this is how it works, so on and so forth. You know what, I don't know. Let me call Jason, let me call whoever. It don't matter. I'm using Jason, I'm picking on you because you know where I'm going with that. So I think at the heat of the moment, sometimes it may seem like we're jumping on board and may, for lack of better words, be in attack mode. I don't think that's the intent. I think it's just we all want the betterment of our parish and our constituents. So with that being said, again, it's it's a Q&A session whenever somebody's up there. I think we're all entitled to ask questions. Again, you don't know the answer, fine. I get it. Not a problem. Just let me know. So I'm not using it as a platform to attack anybody. I want to make darn sure that's clear. I'm good.
Mr. Corville?
Yeah, to be fair, as a human being and a business person, I do agree with you that somebody who's coming before a board to ask questions should be given a fair shake. You know, tell me what you want to talk about. That's what I'd ask. If you called me for a meeting, the next thing I'd say is, what do you want to discuss? So I could be prepared. We owe that to people as a courtesy, no doubt. But I just want to clear up I think that the presentations are good because now we have everything on YouTube. The average everyday person, and everybody who's elected here knows this, they don't know what we do every day. They just don't get it. They just know we didn't show up to dig their ditch that day, or we didn't get things done timely. They don't really understand the logistics of it. I kind of like that they can see it all play out. The deal with Jason, I was aware that was going to look premeditated, but I promise you that wasn't. The reason why I had that on the phone was because we keep running into issues, especially in my district. We dig in this canal. Well, it's a wetland. We have to stop. Well, it's so I kind of asked questions. Well, there's permits, but nobody could tell me how long it takes to get a permit. Have we asked? Have we tried? It's like, okay, we just kept hitting these walls. But I knew that doing nothing probably wasn't going to be a good answer for long. So when we were discussing it, I think it came up about digging in the wetlands, and then it went off. I can assure you, nobody was trying to set up, Jason, to defend the parish's stance on wetlands. And I think Parish President Delcom, you started bringing up some things about, well, this is what the Corps of Engineers position is. We got in trouble on a deal in St. Martinville. So that opened the door for me. I said, okay, I found something from the Corps of Engineers too and decided to read it. If any of that was taken as me trying to set up Jason or premeditated, I apologize. That wasn't the case. You're right. Maybe that wasn't the right approach. It was brought up. We were all throwing it around. Because I am concerned. I am concerned about how we're going to move past this because we can't just not dig canals. I think everybody can agree on that. So we need to get to the bottom of it. I don't know what the answer is, but not doing nothing is not. If it's a permitting process, well, let's start getting the permits. That's all I was getting at.
Mr. Louvier?
So when people are talking, it's going to raise up questions. It's hard to not have somebody talk and not have a question. Fair enough. It is what it is. We'll move on from that. The next thing is you can't settle an argument without talking. So we have to talk. We have to ask questions, and we're going to figure it out. That's all.
And I don't think, just to add one more thing, because it's bothering me that this is even being hashed out like that. I don't think, and please tell me if I'm wrong, that anything was said, Jason, why you not doing this? Or Corey, why you asking that question? Or Chris or whoever. I don't think it was ever brought up in that manner. If it was, again, tell me I'm wrong and I'll admit to that. That's not a problem. I admit, plenty of times if I'm wrong, when I'm wrong, whatever. It's human nature. But I think as a governing agency, parish government overall, everything is out in the open. Everything is, this is going to sound ugly, but I don't mean it this way. Everything is fair game. And when I say fair game, everybody has a right to ask questions. I mean, everybody has a right to ask me questions. I get asked a lot of questions. You know that because I call you for answers. So I don't think, again, I think we need to all understand that this is not, and if some people think that it's that way, or even if it is the case, then we need to all punt and regroup and realize what we're doing. But I don't think this is used as a platform to attack anybody, simply because we're all public servants, especially those of us sitting up here. And parish employees, to a certain extent, you work for the parish government, but it's kind of sort of you're a public servant as well. I mean, you get fingers pointed at you, and what we did this past Monday when we went walk that lateral, he was mad, but he calmed down after about 30 seconds and he was good. And You know, it was what you're gonna do, what you're gonna do, what you're gonna say, this and that, blah, 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 blah. No, this is why, and this is what's gonna take place, and done deal, finished. And that person had every right to ask those questions, they did. And it was real simple. It was not an attack on Jason, and it wasn't an attack on me, because it was one of my constituents. After a small 30-second, 45-second conversation, it was done. And then the rest of it was BS. Just catching up on stuff. So again, I don't think anybody's using this as a platform to attack anybody. But on the flip side, we all know what we're getting into when we ran for office, public office. I know I did. And I know as parish employees, it's to a certain extent kind of the same thing. And I admire you for wanting to shield and protect your parish government employees. I do admire you for that. But I just want to make it clear, this is not an attack mode setting. We all just ask a lot of questions, so.
Ms. Narcisse?
I came after all of them, y'all. I had pressed it before them. But I was because I was coming off of Carla, because now I feel like, because Carla and I don't know what we did, but when we came and we just thought that this would be a good idea, and it was because, honestly, if y'all want to be honest, there were some people in positions that couldn't answer a question when we would ask it, or they didn't even know that existed until somebody else brought it up. They just didn't even know of things that was happening. So it was like, okay, we can get educated and they can get educated too. And that's where it stemmed from. Now, I'm gonna be quite frank, honest. I'm sitting here, I didn't go back and read this, but I'm sitting here, I'm lost because I don't even know what happened. I must have played hooky, that meeting. But this doesn't have, I heard y'all say a couple of times, this platform, it didn't have a platform. So maybe a platform needs to be put together, maybe chair and parish president or director head or something, if this is going to continue to happen, if we're going to continue to have presentations from administrative, from directors and supervisors, maybe we need to have a platform of what needs to be followed when they come to do a presentation. And it's not just free game, because, free game, you say free game, but free game could cost high too. It ain't free.
Is it fair?
Fair game too, fair game. Now, he tried to be the fairest politician when he spoke, but I was listening to him too. That's not always fair. It is not always fair. So maybe we need a platform.
I think we have a platform.
We can start off, like Brooke is gonna provide the information insofar as which departments, and then they could kind of develop from there.
Well, more than a platform, a directive of what, who, what, when, where, and why, and stick to that. If it's something outside, then it needs to be a meeting had or something in particular, and not.
So if I remember right, one of the very first ones we did in the previous administration was Section 8 housing.
Yes.
You had requested we bring Section 8 housing in to find out how Section 8 operates, what the procedures were, the times that they were there. That's the questions we wanted. Every year they've come back and answered those same questions over and over.
And have improved.
And yes, when I can remember project managers, we had Mr. Heat Bobino came in and gave us a presentation on projects that we're working on in the parish, things he was overseeing. Callan Yuval came in, gave a presentation of what the projects he was working on, everything. Before we asked for public works, we asked for a presentation, and that was the first time he denied us. That was the very first time we asked that Ms. Gilbo give us a presentation, and you flat out said no. So for you to bring this up and accuse me or the council, whoever you want to accuse, of using this as a platform, you stopped this way before we even got it started. You were the first person to say no. And we've never attacked anybody. It was just the same thing that we've been doing for years and years. We always had the Public Works Director, Mr. Wes Dupuy would give us a presentation. Callan Yuval gave us one as a project manager. He talked about the projects we had just finished up, projects that he was working on, projects that were coming up. Simple. He did the same thing. When we asked for a project manager, before Jason ever came up, you told our clerk of court, no, take her off. She's not going to give us a thing. So I don't think we ever had a platform. I think you had it in your head that there was gonna be a platform, but I have no idea where you got that from because we've never had a platform. We've never attacked anybody. The last meeting, it's on YouTube. We can go back and look at it. But when we were talking to Jason and he came up about the wetlands, we asked the question because we had been communicating about wetlands and the problems that we were having with some of the stuff. And we just asked where he was on that. And it led into a conversation to where you said that we had got in a lawsuit over some wetlands digging, which turned out to be was a lawsuit when Guy Cormier was here and it was about trees that was removed. It wasn't about any digging at all. Yeah. So, Pete, that you look informational thing that you allege that we tried to target people. That's never happened on this council. It's never happened in the 11 years I've been on the council. I've not known any council members, anybody, to allegedly attack another employee or anybody in parish government. We had a conversation. It came up about the wetlands. We asked the questions because we had been communicating about that and we hadn't got an answer back from it. And we just wanted to know where we were at on it. So that's all it was. These are what these informational items that they bring forth and tell us about and their job duties are and what they're doing and what the projects we're working on. That's for us to understand because we don't work here every day. We're not here every day, but we're answering the phone every day. And I got constituents that call me every day. And there's quite a few of us here that put in countless hours trying to answer questions and answer our constituents when they want to know what's going on. And sometimes we can't get those answers. Did we put Jason on the spot by accident? I don't think we did. I think we just asked him a fair question because it came up about the wetland, so we asked him where we were on it. I can say that before we even got Jason up there, before Jason, you denied us having certain personnel to come and give a presentation where we weren't trying to put anybody on the spot. We had previous project managers, the two I mentioned, Mr. Heath Bobino and Mr. Callan Huval, that had given the years before. So all we were doing was trying to find a different format. When we sat down in the meeting, I think it was me, Chris, Carla, Brooke, and I'm not sure if anybody else was involved. There was 3 or 4 of us. And we put together a list of departments of who we thought could come, and we restructured it to where it wasn't on the same months they had gave before, but we had some, I think some of it had to do like with the fair housing up thing, we wanted to make sure we had Section 8 at that time, and we brought people in at different times. The hospital board came in. We had SMETA. SMETA's not even part of parish government. It's its own separate entity. But we asked them to come to give us a presentation on what they do, what they provide. And they came and gave us a slideshow, detailed information. They shared that information with us. We're not targeting anybody. And we have never, and I have never. And for you to even come up with that and say that's Pete, that's a little disrespectful and it's a little inconsiderate because I don't think that's ever happened. And I think if you go back and you review the meeting from that previous meeting, nobody attacked Mr. Jason. Nobody did anything to put him in a bad position. So.
Can I speak now?
Yeah, now you can speak.
Thank you. Yeah, you use the word targeting as if I said that. I never used the word targeting. I never used the word putting into a bad position. I've never used, you're subjecting that, and I think you're using subjective words to describe me, and I will digress to where we started with this. This is an overview of a department, okay? If you have any areas, issues, or anything over and above the overview of the department, I think that out of respect for myself and or anyone else that's at the podium, that we be given some additional direction as to where this may go. It appeared, of course, this is just an appearance, that you were going to bring up the issue of the wetlands prior to his discussion. So if that being the fact, of course, I don't know, I can't get into your head. If that was the fact, it would have been appreciated. Hey, look, can we talk about the wetlands? I want to talk about this, and this, to where myself and Mr. Jason could have been somewhat informed to where we could have answered the questions in a more logical and compliant manner that we couldn't because we had no idea that this was going to be brought up in this public meeting. I just think in these public meetings, You know, in a court of law, you know, whether you're the plaintiff, whether you're the defendant, where all information is given out to everybody so that everyone is on a level playing field. And I'm just asking anything over and above a general overview. And again, I'm not saying that we don't want any questions as it may be brought up. Well, that's not what I said in the email, was it?
I'm never talking about the
That's
email.
not what I
I'm saying
said in
you
the
said
email,
right
was
now.
it?
I'm saying what
No,
you
it
said.
wasn't what I said in the email. I am saying that I have no problem with questions. I have no problems in answering departments or answering positions of departments. What I'm saying is, in the event that there is something of a substantive issue or something that is out of the realm of just a general overview, at the very least, please let myself or the director or supervisor know so that we can prepare ourselves to answer in a qualified manner, because it is a public meeting. You know what you want to ask. We don't. So it's just out of respect.
I don't think anybody up here
Well, I
actually knows what they
disagree.
want to act. Well,
I
I
disagree.
disagree with a lot of
I
what you
disagree.
say.
You keep, I don't think.
Yeah.
I disagree
I know.
with that.
I know.
Yes.
I know I don't agree with you. Because let me tell you what.
Yeah.
You pulled this stunt way before when we asked, and you can smile and take your little squirt of water and do whatever you got to do. It doesn't bother me. But let me tell you
Get
something.
personal.
Yeah, do whatever you got to do. But let me tell you something. When we asked for the project manager to give a job before any of this happened, you denied it. So you had intentions from day one to stop certain people from coming up here. And look, I can't tell you what any of these council members are going to ask. I can't tell you what I'm going to ask. I'm not Jesus Christ, and I don't claim to be, and I don't know what the answer is above what's going to happen next. All I know is that we got to listen. We take in the information. If we have a question, that's what we're here for. We're here to ask questions, answer checks and balance, and answer to our constituents. And that's what we did. Nobody put Jason in a bad spot. Nobody disrespected Jason. At the end of the day, everybody in here, including yourself with your little smirk, be happy all you want to be, but let me tell you one thing. At the end of the day, all you have to say is, I don't know. Just admit it. I don't know. Or I'm not prepared to answer that question and you've done it before. I don't know. I can't answer that question. That's fine. We can't hold you down and tell you got to tell us. Just tell us you don't know. But we have a right to ask questions. Everybody sitting in this council has a right to ask questions. We are all elected by the same people that live in the same parish that expect answers, just like we expect answers. And if we can't get the answers, we need to ask the questions. And there was conversation before about the wetlands prior to this. It came up, we asked the question. We didn't do anything out of the ordinary. We've done this with other departments where if things have come up and we've asked them questions. It's never been an issue before. Never. So,
Does that speaker a while ago have a list of questions from the levy board
no,
that they were gonna,
No.
we were gonna ask?
no.
Okay.
Each situation is different. So,
Okay.
any other questions from the councils? I don't think so.
It's chair's discretion. No vote, you don't have to.
There's no voting done. If you want to ask a question, you can come to the podium and state your name and ask a question.
This is concerned about the wetland, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also trying to find out about the flooding.
Sir, can you identify yourself first, please?
My name is John Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Go ahead.
And I'm worried about the flooding on Reagan Street and Shawnee Street. There's a drainage behind our property.
Mm-hmm.
And each time it rains, it floods.
Very aware.
It floods in our land. I have pictures showing.
Mm-hmm.
2016, we got flooded out. And after 2016, there was no work done behind the fence, on the fence of it. He came there before, and I think he's needed, but there was nothing done, he needed. So my biggest problem is maintenance. Is there maintenance being done on it?
I can tell you that's my district, and some has been done since 2016. So after the floods, they shot elevations, they took readings and all that. So we dug on the other side of Nursery where your Kool-Aid drains to. On Shawnee Road, we drained part of it. We didn't go all the way back to where your property is at because that property is already deep enough. So the problems we had was across from on Nursery Highway. So we dug it all the way up to the bridge. And then we stopped at that bridge. And we completed the second half of the project this year, where we went from the bridge in Grand Bois all the way to where it meets up to Bayami. And we just finished the second phase. The problem you had on the Shawnee flooding, and that was Father's Day. The day of Father's Day when we got that last big flood. That's when we got all that rain, and Shawnee backed up. I went out there, and when I went out there to see what was going on, if you looked at the drainage ditches in Grand Bois, around the Blanchard's homes in that area there, that always used to keep water because the canal would backflow. Well, those ditches didn't have a drop of water in them. The water drained off. When we got to the bayou, that water was running like it never rained before because we took out all the plugs and the silt and everything going out. Behind Rodney Verret's old house, we left 500 feet of spoil that we didn't remove, and we left a 3-foot wall and some of that, and 2-foot wall in that area because it was wetlands. So the reason your water backed up, it was trapped in that area right there where the wetlands was at. Yeah, but that was the problem.
Okay, but the drainage just behind my property, there's still standing water there. So if there's standing water there, that means that the drainage ditch is not draining, correct?
No, that means that the canal, the siltation where the wetland was at is still in the place.
Okay, but yet, maintenance, you say there's some work done behind the house. No, they haven't. But the ditch only sprayed the grass.
Right, but there was work done further down the canal. So if we were, when they shot grade on it, and I'm sure the Public Works Director can sit with you and explain this to you. When they shot the grades on it, when Wes was there at thing, we shot them. If we were to dig where you at, you'd be deep, you're actually deeper now than where the water drains off to. So, yeah, so we can't go any deeper because then we'd hold more water where you at.
But then, okay, but why isn't it draining, when my home, each time it rains, 2021, 2023, 2025, 2026, I have pictures showing this how deep it is. And it's up to here. Can I see what they?
I've seen it, I've been there. You've called me to go out there. I've gone to your property on several different occasions.
Matter of fact, I called KTC, Joshua, put it on YouTube.
Right.
Did you see?
Oh, yeah, we saw it on TV.
Run of water there?
I saw the water.
But this was my dream home, like I was saying.
Right.
But it's a nightmare each time it rains because the drainage ditch just backs up on the other side.
Right.
So what am I supposed to do?
I get-
You got the wetland. You said one time, because the wetland wasn't done there, the water just backs up where it stays right there, it's like a dam, stopping the water from going over.
Right.
So, you're talking about this and talking about that, but what good is it doing you?
I guess you'd have to get with Public Works and they'd have to show you the grades and everything when they shot them. Because we did work in there. We've done work in that area all the way up to with Nursery Highway. Your side of Nursery is actually deeper than the other side.
On Grove Ridge Highway, I have a friend, and the drainage ditch goes from Grove Ridge Highway, there is a drainage ditch behind it. I went to a buddy of mine house, why is it so clean there? It's clean, which I spoke to you about it, remember? Now you come on the drainage ditch behind it, there's all sorts of debris there.
Oh, I agree with
It
that.
hasn't been cleaned,
I agree with that.
it hasn't.
That it's deep enough, but you're right. You got trees and stuff that are clogged up that is blocking it up.
But yet it's still backing up on our side.
We put work orders in. Public Works is going out there. They looked at it and they determined that it didn't need anything to be done on it. That's administration.
Well, maybe I need to show him this picture there.
Probably so. Might not hurt.
After we get through with this, I'll show him the picture.
I-
And that's good.
Yep. I mean, what we're talking about tonight, we don't have any say-so in the employees. We can put in the work orders, we can put in the requests. Yeah, at that point in time, it's not our decision what gets done and what doesn't get done. We can put our input in.
Because like I said, it's right there where the drainage ditch is, Reagan Road floods.
Yeah. But in that area, that Duet Road floods, Shawnee Road floods, all those areas flood. But if you shoot elevation there, the elevation right there is actually lower. It's kind of a bowl. That's why your water sits there. But if we were to dig the ditches and the canals, from what I understand, and Mr. Jason's right there, I think when we shot grades on it, if we were gonna go and dig, now, the debris that's there, yeah, that needs to be removed. But if you dig it any deeper, you actually bring water back the opposite way.
At one time, I called it, that's where all the culvert the, right size. And I was told it was. Right, and someone gave me a Mr. Brenton name from Lakewood. So I called him and, I asked him, was all the culverts the right size over there? Because someone from the drainage department said it was. So he said, well, Mr. Thomas, no, I didn't go see. But I tell you what, I'm gonna go see now. And when he went back there, he said, no, the culvert wasn't the right size. Matter of fact, they had to put a 7-foot culvert there. Maybe I don't know how many years.
That was about 8 years ago. We did that on Nursery Highway. We changed the culvert out in that farmer's field. It was right before Nursery.
Also,
Yep.
the drainage ditch behind my property too. It was.
Yep.
So, so all the culverts are the right size there.
They're supposed to be, as far as I know. Mike, the guy that you call, Mike Rainey, is the same guy we call.
Well, I tell you, if you mind coming tomorrow, we can look at the drainage ditch and see all of the debris and all of the, grass and everything that's inside. So thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
No, Sharvey Road has two parts. One by Burberry Senior High and one on the other end. So which end you in?
Not far from the, Burberry Senior High.
So you're the one,
Maybe
you
about
pass from
3 miles
Burberry
down
Senior High Road
Shelby Road.
and you on the right or the left?
I'm on the right.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other further questions?
No announcements from the council, Parish President?
Nope.
Okay. Adjourn.
Adjournment. No further questions. Need a motion and second for adjournment. I have a motion by Mr. Melisson, second by Ms. Jean Baptiste. Call for the vote.